Welcome to the Mystery and History channel. Be sure to subscribe and like so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. 1930 shows a Coca-Cola soda fountain car created as an innovative way to promote the brand and serve cold drinks at public events. The vehicle was adapted with equipment that allowed soft drinks to be served directly to customers, turning the automobile into a kind of traveling bar. 1929 shows the trading floor of the Chicago Board of Trade under construction, a space that would become one of the busiest financial centers in the United States. Located in Chicago, Illinois, the building was designed to house operations linked to the trade of grains and other agricultural products. 1938 shows a coal miner's wife and 3 of her children in front of the company house in Pursglove, Scotts Run, in West Virginia. Many miners' families lived in residences provided by the companies themselves, which controlled not only the work, but also aspects of daily life in the communities. The 1903 Cadillac model, a tonneau, one of the first automobiles produced by the American brand. The vehicle represented innovation for the time with a single-cylinder engine and the capacity to carry several passengers. 1969 shows the experimental Soviet mining truck Bell AZ-549B, equipped with a gas turbine engine taken from a Mi-8 helicopter. The project was developed as part of studies to increase the power and efficiency of heavy vehicles used in mines. 1944 shows a fighter of the Italian resistance in Florence during the struggle against foreign occupation in the Second World War. The resistance movements in Italy were formed by ordinary citizens, united in the effort to free their cities and support the advances of the Allied forces. The end of Prohibition in the United States in December 1933, when the 21st Amendment to the Constitution nullified the ban on the production and sale of alcoholic beverages. 1935 shows Jim Jarrett wearing the Tritonia diving suit as he prepared to explore the wreck of the ship RMS Lusitania. The Tritonia was an advanced suit for the time, designed to withstand great depths and provide greater mobility to the diver. 1949 shows a tanning machine presented during the annual Automatic Machines Convention in Chicago. The equipment was designed to simulate exposure to the sun in an artificial way, offering the user the sensation of sunbathing indoors. 1965 shows American helicopters providing covering fire for the advance of South Vietnamese troops during the Vietnam War. The intensive use of helicopters was one of the hallmarks of the conflict, allowing greater mobility for the forces and support for ground operations. 1950 shows the lounge car of a Union Pacific Streamliner train, a symbol of comfort and modernity in American rail transport. These trains were known for their aerodynamic design and speed, offering a distinctive travel experience. The First World War shows a female worker cleaning the rifled interior of a 15-inch gun after being hoisted into the enormous barrel at the Coventry Ordnance Works in the United Kingdom. 1920 shows demonstrators marching in Chicago during the Prohibition era in the United States. The ban on the production and sale of alcoholic beverages, which began in 1920, generated intense debate and mobilized both supporters and opponents. 1970 shows actress Sissy Spacek in a period when her career was beginning to gain prominence in Hollywood. Born in 1949, she started in film at a young age and soon drew attention for her natural presence in front of the camera. 1862 shows President Abraham Lincoln visiting the Antietam battlefield in Maryland shortly after one of the most significant battles of the American Civil War. the meeting between Lincoln and General George B. McClellan, commander of the Army of the Potomac. 1944 shows the United States Pacific Fleet taking positions for battle during the Marshall Islands campaign in the Second World War. The operation was part of the island-hopping strategy across the Pacific, aiming to seize strategic points for future offensives. 1953 shows a painter working on the Eiffel Tower in Paris during one of the periodic maintenance projects needed to preserve the structure. Since its opening in 1889, the tower has required constant painting to protect the iron from corrosion, a task that involves thousands of liters of paint with each renewal. 1955 shows Italian actress Sophia Loren kissing her younger sister, Maria Schiccolone. At that time, Sophia was already emerging as one of the most promising stars of European cinema, while Maria was still a teenager. 1960 shows Bruce Lee teaching martial arts to his son, Brandon Lee, as a child. Bruce Lee was already emerging as a master in martial arts and as an actor, known for his discipline and philosophy that united physical and mental strength. The record reveals the family side of the icon, passing on his knowledge and passion to his son from an early age. 1890 shows the future King George V of the United Kingdom next to his cousin, Tsar Nicholas II of Russia, still young, before they assumed their thrones. The two belonged to the same European royal family and shared a remarkable physical resemblance, often noted in portraits of the time. 1900 shows two boys being detained in New York City for pickpocketing, a common practice in crowded areas of the city. At the turn of the 20th century, urban growth brought great social contrasts, with many children living in poverty and resorting to small crimes to survive. 1958 shows an engineer working on the wiring of one of the first computers of international business machines, at a time when these machines occupied entire rooms. The assembly process required precision, since thousands of cables and components were connected by hand for the system to function. 1959 shows a smiling French young woman holding her cat in a simple and affectionate everyday scene. The post-war period brought significant changes to France, but also moments of lightness and joy recorded in images like this. July 16, 1969, shows Neil Armstrong's wife, Janet Sharon, with their children, watching the liftoff of the Apollo 11 mission at Kennedy Space Center in Florida. The launch marked the beginning of the historic journey that would lead Armstrong to become the first man to walk on the moon. 1926 shows a Viking ship from the year 820 being transported through the streets of Oslo, Norway, after its excavation and preservation. The vessel was part of important archaeological discoveries that helped to better understand the culture and maritime traditions of the Nordic peoples. 1905 shows Marie Curie in her laboratory in a moment of dedication to the research that would change the history of science. Curie was the first woman to receive the Nobel Prize and the only person to earn it in two different fields: physics and chemistry. 1967 shows Mike Summerbee, a Manchester City player, demonstrating the built-in record player in his new Volvo P1800. The Swedish sports car was already famous for its elegant and modern design, and the detail of the sound system reflected the innovative spirit of the time. 1925 shows a woman having the length of her bathing suit measured, a common practice on beaches and in pools at the time to ensure that swimwear followed the modesty rules imposed by the authorities. 1930 shows stunt performers specialized in extreme acrobatics, making jumps with automobiles in public shows. These events, known as thrill shows, attracted large audiences seeking excitement and entertainment at a time when cinema and live performances were expanding. 1970 shows Linda Carter in the role of Wonder Woman, a character that would become a landmark of television and popular culture. The series premiered in 1975 and quickly won fans around the world, standing out for the combination of action, fantasy, and the actress's charisma. The construction of the aqueduct system that brought water to New York City between 1906 and 1915, considered one of the greatest engineering achievements of the time. The project involved thousands of workers and used advanced techniques to dig tunnels, build dams, and channel water from distant reservoirs to the metropolis. 1940 shows a migrant family in Armona, California, during the period of the Great Depression. Many families moved in search of seasonal work in agriculture, living in simple conditions and facing great hardships. 1910 shows a man holding a small donkey in his lap with the caption, "Rockabye Baby," written at the bottom. The curious scene reflects the humor and creativity of photographic records of the time, in which unusual situations were used to entertain or surprise. 1960 shows American graphic artist Harvey Ross Ball next to his most famous creation, the iconic smiling face known as the smiley face. Ball designed the symbol in 1963 as part of a campaign to encourage good spirits within a company. 1944 shows a fighter of the Italian resistance in Florence during the struggle against foreign occupation in the Second World War. The resistance movements in Italy were formed by ordinary citizens, united in the effort to free their cities and support the advances of the Allied forces. 1956 shows a Pan American Airways airplane being used to transport a hard drive of only 5 megabytes, which at the time took up the space of a large industrial machine. 1960 shows women shopping in a supermarket in a period when this retail format was becoming an essential part of everyday life. Organized shelves and shopping carts already symbolized the modernization of consumer habits. 1960 shows an automatic machine presented at the second vending exhibition in London, capable of mixing whiskey with soda. The event highlighted innovations in the convenience sector, showcasing machines that offered different products in a quick and practical way. 1970 shows the assembly line of the Porsche 911 at the Stuttgart factory in Germany, where the model was produced with precision and attention to detail. Launched in 1964, the Porsche 911 quickly became an icon of automotive engineering, recognized for its sporty design and performance. June 19, 1972, shows South Vietnamese parents with their 5 children fleeing toward Saigon during the Vietnam War. The scene portrays the direct impact of the conflict on civilian families who sought safety far from combat areas. June 25, 1921, shows a bathing suit contest held in Washington, District of Columbia, at a time when events of this kind were beginning to gain popularity in the United States. 1980 shows Carrie Fisher next to actors dressed as stormtroopers during the promotion of the film The Empire Strikes Back in London. The feature film, the second of the original Star Wars trilogy, was released that year and quickly became one of the most influential in the saga. 1914 shows a smiling young woman wearing a traditional kimono in Japan during New Year celebrations. The date has always been one of the most important in the Japanese calendar, marked by rituals, visits to temples, and family gatherings. 1980 shows one of the first women trained as a pilot by the Swedish Air Force. The moment represented an important milestone in the opening of the armed forces to female participation in roles traditionally held by men. 1985 shows singer Ozzy Osbourne next to his wife, Sharon Osbourne, in a defining period of the artist's career. Known as the former vocalist of the band Black Sabbath, and for his solo career, Ozzy was consolidating his fame as one of the great names in Rocky. 1963 shows New York City subway passengers reading their morning newspapers during the ride. The scene reflects a common habit of the time, when the printed newspaper was the main source of daily information. July 16, 1969, shows employees of a Kmart store gathered to watch the launch of the Apollo 11 mission, which would take humankind to the moon. The scene reveals how the event was followed in every corner of the United States, uniting people from different places in a moment of anticipation and national pride. 1937 shows the opening celebrations of the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, California. During the event, airplanes flew between the bridge's towers while thousands of pedestrians crossed the newly built structure. 1962 shows the crate that carried the painting Mona Lisa by Leonardo da Vinci being presented to the press in the main hall of the ship France in New York City. The 16th century masterpiece had been sent from the Louvre Museum in Paris for a special exhibition in the United States. 1944 shows newly built F-4U Corsair and F-6F Hellcat fighters being prepared in the United States to be sent to the Pacific Theater during the Second World War. These aircraft were fundamental for naval operations, supporting aerial combat and escort missions on aircraft carriers. 1928 shows a crowded bus traveling along a street in London, reflecting the city's growth and the importance of public transportation in urban daily life. In that period, London was already one of the largest metropolises in the world, with intense movement of workers, students, and visitors. 1944 shows a fake neighborhood built on the roof of an aircraft factory in Seattle, Washington during the Second World War. The structure was created to camouflage the industrial facilities against possible air attacks, making the view from above appear to be an ordinary neighborhood. 1966 shows actress Suzanne Pleshette handing a cigarette to actor Steve McQueen using her foot during a break in the filming of the movie Nevada Smith. The unusual behind-the-scenes moment illustrates the relaxed atmosphere that often arose among the performers during long shoots. 1945 shows the celebration of victory over Japan Day in Times Square in New York City. The announcement of the end of the war in the Pacific brought thousands of people into the streets to celebrate the official end of the Second World War. 1934 shows a radiologist operating an X-ray device during a radiology exhibition held at Central Hall in Westminster, London. The event brought together professionals and researchers to present the most recent advances in the medical field. 1970 shows Elon Musk as a baby in Pretoria, South Africa, where he was born in 1971. Long before becoming one of the most well-known names in the technology sector, Musk lived an ordinary childhood in his hometown. He would later move to Canada and subsequently to the United States, where he would build his career. 1940 shows an automatic milk vending machine in London, an example of the modernization of urban services in the post-war period. The equipment allowed consumers to buy fresh milk in a practical and quick way, without the need for direct interaction with an attendant. 1900 shows people in the Netherlands wearing traditional clothing characteristic of different regions of the country. The clothing included white caps, long skirts, vests, and wooden clogs known as klompen, which were widely used in everyday life. 1986 shows the interior of the Oldsmobile Incas, a concept car developed by the American brand to present futuristic technologies. The vehicle drew attention for its advanced design and a dashboard filled with digital screens and electronic controls, something far ahead of its time. 1965 shows customers buying a television set at a time when the device was becoming an essential part of the home. Television had become popular after the Second World War, and by the 1960s, it had already become a symbol of modernity and social status. 1990 shows Petr Mshvenyaradze, a legendary Soviet player from Georgia, alongside his grandson. Recognized as one of the great names in water polo, Mshvenyaradze represented the Soviet Union in several international competitions, including the Olympic Games. 1970 shows actors Donald Sutherland and Clint Eastwood during the filming of the movie Kelly's Heroes. The production, set during the Second World War, combined action, comedy, and adventure, becoming a cult classic over the years. 1950 shows Audrey Hepburn as a young woman in a ballet class before achieving worldwide fame as an actress. Born in 1929, Hepburn initially dreamed of being a professional ballerina and trained intensively in her youth. People enjoying the sun in an area known as a beach in Lower Manhattan in New York City, before the construction of Battery Park City in the 1970s. The location was on the banks of the Hudson River and served as an improvised leisure space for city residents. 1950 shows Grace Kelly still at the beginning of her career in a studio when she was starting to build the path that would make her one of Hollywood's greatest stars. Born in Philadelphia in 1929, Grace began as a model and soon drew the attention of the film industry for her natural elegance and talent. 1971, recorded by Iosif Budnovich, shows the House of the Council of Ministers and the Supreme Council of the Uzbek Soviet Socialist Republic in Tashkent. The building was constructed as a central administrative headquarters, reflecting the architectural style typical of the Soviet period, marked by solid lines and monumentality. Swing dancers in a period performance, likely between the 1930s and 1940s, when the style became popular in the United States. Swing, derived from jazz, became one of the greatest cultural expressions of the period, bringing together vibrant music and energetic movements. 1921 shows the immediate consequences of the episode of violence that occurred in Tulsa, in the state of Oklahoma, known as the Tulsa Massacre. The event began on May 31st and resulted in the destruction of much of the Greenwood District, also called Black Wall Street, a prosperous community formed by African American entrepreneurs and families. 1914 shows a class of women in a typing lesson at the Blackheath Road Evening Institute in London. Typing instruction became increasingly important at the beginning of the 20th century, as the use of typewriters grew in offices, public departments, and private companies. If you enjoyed this video and want to support the channel, please use the Super Thanks tool below. Your contribution helps us keep bringing you amazing historical content. Thank you so much for your support, and see you in the next video.